this is Amy. Welcome today to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I do a purple wiggle leaf floral design on this frosted glass bottle. I will be listing all of my supplies down below underneath the video, so check that out. I am going to get started. I actually mixed two different colors together to create this color here. I am using tea berry and eggplant as the two mixtures, and I'm going to just create a very easy design on this frosted glass bottle. Now this obviously was a clear glass bottle and I used some frosting paint, and it's actually called Frosted Glass and it is coral. This is a FolkArt paint. Excuse me. I'm going to just double load my brush into the paint mixture. Oops. There I go. I have already, obviously, I cleaned the bottle, got the sticker off, cleaned the bottle, and then painted the frosted glass paint over the entire bottle. Alright. By doing this too, it's going to give it better coverage because it's actually a little bit thicker by adding the extra coat of paint on it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and begin, and I'm just going to go like this, do some wiggling, and come back down. Now, again, this is very simple. This is a little bit different than my sample paper that I did as far as the colors and how I'm using them. I am going to use it with the white coming out at the top. When you do this though, you can actually try to think, okay, now where's the sunlight hitting? How will I, adjust my paint if you want to make it look like you're looking at the light source. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting the light on the top and the dark on the bottom. If you want to do it all the same all the way around, you can do that as well. That's up to you. I just think that it gives it a little bit more interest by rearranging it a little bit, but that's up to you if you want to do it that way or not. And I'll tell you, by doing this, the paint goes on so much nicer than just directly on the bottle without having a base coat. So if you find that it's a little bit harder for you to paint on glass, that's something you might want to try, is get a more, this is more of a, what do I try to say with paint, more of a flat base as opposed to being shiny and easily to move as far as the glass being smooth and that type of thing. So just so you know, this does make a little bit of a difference. Now this is going to be a bud. Now I can do it just like this and leave it, or I can come in here and do another pass through it like that. There's a lot of different ways that you can paint a bud, but that's one of them. Alright, so then down here I'm going to go like that and just come up and back. Again, I'm going to go over it again, just slight wiggles when I'm doing it. Nothing real crazy. I am a lefty, so if I'm going a direction that's not comfortable to you when you're following my videos, then try going the opposite direction. I hope that makes sense to you. Alright, and then let's just do one more bud. I'm just going to be painting the front of this for you on this video. And I'm doing that just so that you can see the basic design. You can just paint the front, or if you want, you can go all the way around the bottle. Up to you. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn this around. Now I can come down here. Well, actually, hold on. Before I do that, I have one more step to put in here because of the way I'm creating these flowers. Alright, so I'm going to take my fine liner. And again, I mentioned that I will have these linked down below. I am going to pull this up. Love these. This is a nail brush. Love these for making just very thin lines, ones that you can make a little bit wispier. I think that it's just an amazing brush for this purpose. And I like to just kind of go back and forth, just make it like they're overlapping and they're not just straight. And you don't have to put this many in there if you don't want. I mean, obviously, typically they would have 5 or 6 probably, not a ton. Just depends on the flower. But I'm not really creating any specific flower when I'm doing this at this point. So I can create it, use my own imagination. It doesn't have to be precise. And while you're watching this video, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button underneath, and you do the notification bell as well so you don't miss any of my videos. And before you leave, if you would, share this video on your social network with all your family and friends. Very easy to do. There's a share button underneath. It'll pop up, and guess what? It'll show you where you can share it. Alright, so as I was mentioning before, I am going to flip my brush so that the darker part is coming up into this flower. Now I don't want to cover all that because I do want it to be seen, but you can go like that. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but I'm just going to stick with this one. Just do a partial. Doesn't have to be anything big. Go like that. Very simple, right? I think. Hopefully it is for you as well. Alright, so before I go into my greens, I'm going to take I have a liner brush here, or a little round brush, probably is more correctly the way to describe it. And I am just going to sporadically come in here because I have different sizes, different lengths. I'm just going to be putting this little mark in a variety of places throughout. Again, you don't have to do it with this many. You can make them all the same height, all the same direction, going in different directions. Just use your imagination. That's all I ask. Alright, so we're done with that. Then I am going to pick up my flat brush. I'm going to be double loading it into Thicket and Forest Moss. I like to do a little side of the Skullbush Yellow. Can even sometimes put in some white. It just really depends on how I want to go with it. Alright, so the purpose of this video, I am doing this as a bunch of flowers on a stem. Okay, so I'm just going to draw this in right now. I keep tipping into the brown, which is fine. And then I'm going to come up here, put a little bit of greenery on this, and then come down into this stem. If you want to create it more of just the flowers with some leaves around the actual flowers and no stem, you can do that as well. This little booger is going to be like it's just kind of hanging down, and I'm going to bring it up here and swoop it around. So again, use your imagination. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're happy with it, that's truly what matters. I'm going to just do some quick pulls. And you notice I got some white in there. That's fine. I like to do more than 2 colors a lot of times into my flowers and leaves. And that perfectly fits into my painting style. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Now with this paint, I use the FolkArt paints. There are a variety of paints on the market to choose from. If you're like me, you want to test them out to see which brand works best with your painting style. Now, keeping that in mind doesn't mean you have to use only one brand, because you might want to mix up however your painting style is. You might not want to do solely that. You might want to do a variety of different styles, meaning that there are times where people are doing the stained glass look, and there's different paints that actually look good with that technique. This type of paint would not be what I would recommend if you wanted to do more of a stained glass look. It just wouldn't. That wouldn't be my choice. So, you know, keep that in mind, that there are a variety of different types of paint out there on the market. Be open. Hopefully you have, you know, the money to be able to investigate it a little bit and see what works best for you, because that's basically what I did when I started glass painting. Okay, this is more of like a bud that is not open. It hasn't bloomed. When you're painting, if you feel like you're getting way too much paint on your brush, feel free to wipe it off on a paper towel. Sorry for the barking dogs. That's pretty common in my household. I want to make that a little bit. And you can blend this a little more if you want, or just leave it. I kind of like it like that. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to do another little spray coming out of the top here. And you can bring it up to the neck, up into the neck, up to the neck of the bottle. You know, it's up to you. A lot of mine, I just kind of leave. I'm going to do another one, another bigger one here. I'll just kind of leave the necks open. You can actually do some wrapping of like twine, or like baker's twine, or some kind of a fun wire even at the top. But again, that's up to you. I kind of did some of that on my Halloween bottles. And I made like one extra one. I didn't really make them to sell. I just made them to be a decoration that I was doing for my own home. Okay, so I'm going to come over this. Just kind of paint it in a little bit more. Again, it can be more closed up if you want it, or open at the top like that, or just round, like a round bud that hasn't opened yet. But I'm going to do it like this. I think it gives a little bit more color. Now, as far as some leaves go, I am just going to be doing them a few leaves, just like I'm drawing them in with a paintbrush. So they're not my typical one-stroke type leaf. I'm going to brush that off a little bit, come in here, and come around the sides a little bit with the darker green. Maybe even put some yellow in here. And again, this type of a leaf, you know, you can do the one stroke leaves on all of it if you want. I just decided on some of these just to do more of a paint and then just tack in some other color on top of the initial paint. But I'll mix some other ones in here in a minute. Okay, so again I'm just drawing my leaf style. And I can make them bigger. I don't have to have them be small. You can base coat them if you want with another color. And then come in and start adding some other shades to it. Again, I keep putting a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm coming back in and getting some of it off. Very simple though, right? I mean, for the most part. And you can do different shaped leaves, they don't all have to be the same. And I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. Just something a little different, right? Alright, so we're just going to keep moving on here. And I hope you like this. Again, it's just, you know, it's a little different. Not my norm for some of the, like the leaves and such, not my norm. But that's okay. I didn't want it to be the norm. And trust me, by doing it like this, those leaves are going to be very, very thick and durable. Plus, like I said, having the base coat on here, that's really going to help. And I'll just put a little stem up to them. In there like that. You don't have to have a lot of color. They don't have to be... I'll make this base a little bit thicker. It's kind of a technique where you just have to keep playing with it to get it the way you want it. It's more of just a looser style of painting. Kind of hit outside the mark there a little bit. Like that. Okay, so then I'm going to go back into my paint and do my double loading or triple loading depending on what I want to do, and start doing my basic leaves because I do like my one stroke leaves. And so you can, even those I can kind of alter a little bit by adding some other colors into it and just doing some light little attachment stems because I don't need to be really thick. And I just come up here, just make it all fit together. Yeah, like that. And then I'm going to probably just do a little one out that way. And just kind of take a look at it and see where all I want to have them. I do need to come back down here because I didn't actually do any kind of attachment greens on this one. Now you could pull your green up further. You don't have to just keep it around the base like I typically do. However you want to do it. Okay, and then I'm going to add some little leaves. Let's look at that one a little bit better here. Like I said, actually am finding I like to paint on this frosted gloss paint. I think it's very pretty. Now this bottle, you could just paint on the front. Maybe make this more of a flower vase kind of a glass bottle instead of a lighted bottle. I'd have to look at the lights and see how well they show up in this style. I'm not really sure. And you could also do some type of a technique on it where some of the clear glass shows so that you're not covering the entire entire vase, if that makes sense. So then you would see the light, I guess is why I'm suggesting that. Put a little stem in there. Again, you don't have to have leaves all over the place. Even though I'm a big leaf person, you don't have to go that route. You do your basic vines and call it a day. And I also just thought too, I didn't do any attachments for the bigger flowers. So on those, well, I guess this bigger one down here, I did do it on the upper one. So I just need to go in here, do the same thing. I'm going to put a little white in it. Because again, if you do that, that can make it to really show or stand out. Put a little yellow in it too in the mix. And I'm going to come back here, put a little of the thicket. We're almost done too. I appreciate you hanging out with me as much as possible. Alright, I think I'm going to leave it at this for now. I think I touched on all of it. I think it's very pretty. The colors, even though they're not identical, with the coral background is very pretty. Alright, I hope you like this once again. If you do, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. New to my channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and before you leave, share this on your social network with all your family and friends. Just hit that share button that you'll find underneath. And until the next time, stay safe and healthy, and you have a good one.